we talk all the time about how can we get young people, new people to enter the business. We talk about it a lot. We need it. There's definitely an age gap and an experience gap in the field landman kind of side of the business. So thought it'd be a good conversation. We talk about this stuff a lot internally. Um, People ask us all the time about it. At times we have people that are interested in getting in the space, especially in the last year or so. We're starting to hear more interest, but really the conversation always turns into, do we have the right kind of project? How can we train them? What it takes to train them? Can we pay them enough, for it to be viable for them in the long term to make a career out of it? So there's a lot to unpack there, and it's a pretty good conversation. I asked Steve to jump in because he's got such a great perspective for, the eastern and northeastern half of the country. And so we figured we should jump in and kind of talk about the field landman and staffing and recruiting people into our side of the business and what we've experienced. Want to talk about day rates, want to talk about all those things that are factors when it comes to someone making a decision to, start a career in the land profession.
Do you think it's just price? Like, why are there just less young people? Is it because there have been downturns in oil and gas? What do you think it is?
Yeah, what's ironic is when we started, there was a huge age gap, and you were either 25 or you were 55. And so then for years we went through the training process, brought in a bunch of people and sent them through our energy force class. And so we got this localized workforce, and for the most part in each different region. And then you had what, 5 downturns over the past decade. We had the projects and the sizable projects and clients who were willing to, you know, help us pay for those folks so they could have that workforce. And, you get to be our age, you've gone through how many times of not having work, and now you're married, you have kids, mommy and dad, you need stability and benefits and something that's, you can work 5 days a week. And so a lot of people left the industry. So now we're trying to bring in young folks, and it's worked to a certain extent, but just not on the scale that we needed to, right? We can't just bring in 40 people like we did in the past and get 25 out of there that were worth anything. It's 4 at a time, 5 at a time, finding a mentor in the field. Maybe they have a son, nephew, cousin who wants to get in, and you're kind of pairing them up together. So it's a real slow build, instead of if you had to staff a 100-person project and bring on 20 young people, we don't have that ability anymore.
Well, also there's a difference now in how people are entering, right? Like what was it? What were the first projects you guys worked on when you were entering the industry, and how does that differ from what people are getting into now?
Yeah, so there's been an evolution of just the type of work, right,
Yeah.
that we do. I mean, obviously, when Steve and I and many of the folks that are in their 40s in the field side of the business, that was a shale place, and they were big, and they were all over the country, and they needed resources, and they needed people who could travel and go to these locations, and so it was perfect for a young person coming out of college or out of high school that wanted a job and can make good money. And there was endless opportunities, right? All kinds of opportunities for growth, and you could progress people with paying their day rates or increasing their day rates. You could do it quickly. Um, Now, I mean, with exception of some hotspots within the country that dictate larger and kind of warrant, larger crews, and projects are much smaller. They're much more technical. They're more challenging. They're more difficult. They're more time sensitive. They're more costly if you make a mistake. So it's hard to, I think of like Texas, outside of if you've got maybe a big leasing project on a natural gas play or something along those lines. Um, it's difficult to have it's not common to have a big project. And even if you do have a sizable project, sizable for us now is 10 people, and they better know what they're doing, right? Because a mistake is very costly. Um, so, there's a lot of factors at play. That is certainly one of them, is the type of work that we have, the size of the projects are smaller. But it still doesn't negate the fact that we have to bring in, a new generation of people in our business. And you can't get around the commitment that we have to make. And I think it's one of those things that's going to require industry support. And it's going to require commitment from other field landmen to mentor someone, and it's gonna require folks that are either leading crews or running brokerage shops to invest in supporting those people, and helping along their development.
And I think Khalil has a background. So if you go to school for a PLM degree or land management degree, you're, I, Brent, maybe I'm wrong, but 95% you're going straight in house. You're not experiencing any field time. So the folks we have, although they may be college graduates or have elevated degrees, they're coming from either being in a place of Texas or Oklahoma or one of the oil basins, knowing the land business, understanding that their parents did it, their uncle did it, or your family member, like in the Northeast, you're a family member, friends, something of that, who, hey, this is what I do. You got nothing else going on. Why don't you try it? I think you'd be good at it. The field guys, there's really no conventional way, like a path in school for how you become a field agent. So it's word
Yeah.
of mouth or the industry.